Each candidate is going to have 2 minutes opening statements to tell us why they're running, and we are going to go from left to right. Okay? And then after that, they will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and we will start with the second person to go first. That would be RK. And we will go in a round robin so that everybody gets a chance to be first answering a question, everybody gets to be last. And then they will have 1 minute for a closing statement, and that will go from right to left in the reverse order. Okay? If any of the candidates in answering a question calls out one of the other candidates, then that candidate will have 30 seconds to rebut what was said. But the person who called them out doesn't get to respond to that. So all you are doing by doing that is giving the other candidate an extra 30 seconds to speak. Oh, please, not 30 minutes, 30 seconds.
30 minutes.
Okay. Does everybody understand that? Do I need to explain it? Okay. Now, we might have some yes and no questions towards the end, because we have a lot of questions here. We may not be able to get to them all, and so we may have to just do them as a yes or no. They have paddles here that have yes on one side and no on the other. Jody, you do not, so you can just say yes or no. Okay, unless you want to make a little sign over there on a piece of paper that says yes or no. Up to you. Okay? So now we'll start the forum, and our first opening statement will be from Mayor Bobby Dyer.
Hey, good evening. Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Hey, my name is Bobby Dyer. My friends call me Bobby D, and I've had the privilege to be your mayor for a while. Tell you what is great about Virginia Beach. It's the people of Virginia Beach, and we have found that out over the months, where people are coming together as a community like we have never done before. And yes, I am a bit battle-tested, enduring a number of challenges with the people of Virginia Beach hand in hand together. And I am seeking re-election for one reason: to take a great city to the next level. We have the potential right here in our city of Virginia Beach to be prosperous and to be the template for the rest of the country on how we get together as a city. And when we think about the greatness of the city, we are passionate people. We are a city of faith with many faiths that come together. And my leadership started back in the days when I was in the Marine Corps, and it has taken me to now where I have the privilege of serving. And let me just say this. I am so privileged to be working with the people, to be working with the military, to be working with many, many people. But the challenges that we have lie ahead of us. And I really think that at this point, time-tested leadership, somebody who is engaged, and I was given a nickname, the People's Mayor. During my tenure, last year, I did 761 people contacts. And it's about the people. We can never forget about government is the people. And let me say, when we run for office, and Rick is a good friend of mine, we're politicians. But once elected, we have to become public servants. And I really believe in this thing of servant leadership, serving our great nation. And once again, we are the safest city, a city our size, and we're going to take it to the next level there too. I thank you, and thank you for your support. God bless you.
Thank you. Okay, if everybody can save their applause to the end, maybe we can get a lot of these questions asked. RK?
Good evening. I am Richard R.K. Kowalewitch, and I'm running for the mayor of the city of Virginia Beach. I owned R.K. Surf Shop at the oceanfront for 31 years. My wife and I have an Airbnb, and I do construction and I build. Law and order must be a priority right now. 16 years ago, we were 50 police officers short. Today, we're 80 police officers short from allocated levels. The city of Virginia Beach is well below the country average. We should be at 900 to 1,000 police officers. We only have 723 right now. I've been speaking out on this issue since 2002. This needs to be fixed now. Stormwater. We're one storm away from a disaster. We have the money. It needs to be fixed now. Taxes going up, debt going up. People are leaving our city. 16 years ago, no debt to speak of. Now we're $2.4 billion in debt. $1.2 billion unfunded mandate for the pension fund. 20 years ago, we were $25 million to the good. 25 to the good. We're 1.2 to the rears right now. It's $180 million a year to service the current debt. To put in perspective, the oceanfront only generates approximately $80 million a year in revenues, which is 3.4% of the budget. No growth in the city in 20 years. In the last 4 years, our population has declined every year from the year before. In the last 4 years, our population has declined every year from the year before. Zillow says we're the top of the underwater mortgages in the country. Something's just not right. The city council agreed in May to raise our debt another $240 million at the same time that businesses and citizens were dealing with COVID. Basically guaranteed us another tax increase. This was fiscally irresponsible. It looks to me, council still believes special interests first, not the citizens. If elected, I know who my boss is. You, the citizens of Virginia Beach.
Jody?
Thank you very much. I want to first thank the Tea Party for having this debate, and I want to thank Diana Howard. I know you spent a lot of time putting it together. I'm sorry that I can't be with you in person, but I appreciate being able to do this via Zoom. So these are challenging times. It is really tough in the city of Virginia Beach. The businesses are closing, citizens are hurting. And I understand that. I grew up in a home that was financially challenged. In fact, we were so poor that during economic times, we were downright poor. But I was fortunate. My community had a great public school system. And so I benefited. And I went on to go to college, and I was the first person in my family to graduate college. Well, today I'm running for mayor. And the reason I'm doing it is because Virginia Beach is facing a lot of challenges. COVID has been very difficult for the city, and this recession is very difficult. We've got businesses that are teetering on the eve of destruction. In addition, the city is going to be facing reduced revenues and increased needs. So it takes somebody that understands how to deal with that. When I was state treasurer, my agency got cut 23%. And we figured out a way to provide the same great services to the citizens of Virginia without the 23%. In addition, when I was Secretary of Finance, we balanced a budget with reduced revenues without raising taxes. And those administrations went on to become known as the best managed state, best state to do business in, and best state in which to raise a child. So right now, Virginia Beach is in a position where it's going to be hard to recover because we are, how do I say this? We are a very difficult city to do business in. The red tape is impossible.
15 seconds. Sorry, I was told that I have to tell you the time.
Okay.
You can't.
Red tape, and it is impossible. So I am going to work very hard to cut that red tape because Virginia Beach needs to be a city that views its citizens and its businesses as valued customers. Thank you.
Stop. Okay, I have to look at the signs and tell you they say you can't see them.
Oh, no, I can. I can see the signs.
You can see,
I can see
them when they hold up the signs? Okay.
Well, let's okay.
All right.
Okay,
Oh.
okay,
So
so
now-
she can see us?
Can I see stop?
Okay, thanks. Okay, we're okay. Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
good.
Okay, we're good then? All right.
Thank you.
So the first question will go to you, RK, right? We are the best run city in Virginia Beach, and Mayor Dyer was ranked the third best mayor in the U.S. So what would you do that he hasn't done to foster a pro-business environment in Virginia Beach so all businesses can succeed and to level the playing field?
Well, I don't agree with that statement. You come down to the oceanfront business has been struggling for 20 years. 20 years running, we're renting less rooms than the year before. Nobody's talking about people are leaving the city. 4 years running in a row, people are leaving the city. The taxes have got extremely high. That's not a good way to do things. Look, the United States is based on the free enterprise system. It's our in their Constitution. Government shouldn't be picking winners and losers. The city of Virginia Beach thinks they can throw money at things. It's not working. If you go down there on oceanfront, project after project, it's not working. That we're losing money down there, and things have got to change. And law enforcement is a critical issue. It's out of control. It's becoming dangerous. They're going to barricade the oceanfront this weekend so people can't get down there. 4th of July weekend they did it again. That's great news. That's successful. in the largest resort city in the world, 497 square miles, the largest city. You call that successful? I don't call it. I call it failure. And there's a way to fix it all the way. We have plenty of money. The city has plenty of money. We've never had money problem. We got a spending problem, and we need to control it and spend it in the right places. We're not a socialist city, and we need to stop acting like we are.
Jody?
Well, first let me say that I think that grading system was really based on how the city did and the city's, the environment in the city of Virginia Beach, not necessarily what the mayor had accomplished during his term. He'd been there for a very short time, and the things that they praised the city about are things that were developed over years by the prior mayor. Second, Mayor Dyer was right 4 years ago when he ran for mayor, and he issued a contract. It's called the Contract with Virginia Beach. And in that contract, he promised to create a great business environment, to eliminate barriers to small women-owned and minority-owned businesses, to do a full review of the fairness and effectiveness of the city's economic incentives, and to foster a pro-business environment with a level playing field that encourages new and expanding businesses. Well, over the past 3 weeks, I've conducted a series of roundtables, and I've been talking to small businesses. And what I'm hearing from them is that just didn't happen. In fact, the city of Virginia Beach is extremely difficult to do business in. One poor gentleman told me that he rented a piece of property, started paying rent, and he had to pay rent for 6 months before he could get a permit to just convert his business from a restaurant to a wedding venue. Seriously, 6 months. Other businesses have told me that it took them a year to open their restaurant. There's a restaurant down near on 17th Street called the Pink Dinghy that was almost bankrupt before they ever opened because they couldn't get the permits. That's not fostering a pro-business environment. And as far as minority businesses, that hasn't been done either. Look at the diversity study. It took the city 2 years after they got the diversity study to even do anything. And all they've done so far is set goals, but we haven't seen any execution. So I appreciate the concept, but he is not the best mayor. Thank you.
Okay, not only do you get 30 seconds for a rebuttal, you get 2 minutes, so 2 minutes and 30 seconds for Mayor Dyer to answer what you're
And I
going to
certainly
say.
appreciate everybody's, opinions and perceptions, but the fact is...
Bang on the top. Bang on the top.
There we go, I'm back. Let me put it this way. I've had the pleasure of being a liaison to the Minority Business Council and the Human Rights Commission for 14 years. And yes, we are a great city, ranked number 3rd, but I've been on the city council since 2004 and have been proactive, pro-business, and pro-citizen. And in terms of minority, over the past number of years, our economic development, especially through Taylor Adams, has made significant progress in bringing SWAM businesses and creating opportunities for everybody. And I will also say that recently we just paired a series of ordinances that do help to level the playing field and bring it together. I have done many ribbon cuttings and encouraged businesses to come here. And looking forward to our economic development, the way we're going to pay the bills is not taxes. It's about bringing the businesses and industry in, and that is being done as we speak, because that's how we're going to pay for flooding, and that's how we're going to pay for $3 billion in school funding and modernization. We're an aging city with infrastructure problems. Hurricane Matthew exposed a weak underbelly in us that woke us up in a very big way and caused major changes in priorities. And I'll tell you what, we've been time tested. We've been through much. We've been through COVID. We've been through civic unrest. And the city has rallied. And we have a very diverse city council. We had a unanimous vote on the budget. We had a unanimous vote in picking a city manager. We are coming together. We have a very eclectic council. And that takes leadership. And that started back in the days with the Marine Corps. And it starts with me now. In fact, working with the military. I am the veteran in the group. And I think that's essential as we go forward. But the other thing, as a physical therapist that has worked in our community, working on my doctorate in organizational leadership, I have been in thousands of homes in the city of Virginia Beach and throughout this area. I have the working relationships with the other mayors. We are getting it done. That's why I think I got rated number 3 in the country.
Okay, so the next round of questions, we'll start with you, Jody. Okay, small businesses are under attack due to restrictions with COVID-19. Some businesses have gone bankrupt. People have lost their livelihoods, their jobs, their businesses. What would you do to ensure government does not burden these residents anymore so that we can recover?
That's a great question. When we've been meeting with small businesses, they've told me exactly what you said, that they are struggling, that they are hurting. And truthfully, the city has not helped. There's been no communication from the mayor's office or from the city telling them how to deal with the restrictions. We had one lady that runs a dog grooming facility, and she couldn't get a straight on answer on whether she was allowed to be open, how she was allowed to be open, what the restrictions were. Restaurants have complained that they aren't being told what the rules are, and they have to actually watch the governor's announcements to find out what to do. The city wasn't there for the restaurants when COVID hit. In contrast with our neighboring city in Norfolk, we weren't ready. That city council had the foresight to create a plan during the period of phase 1 so that the restaurants could reopen easily and so that they could expand into their streets to put restaurant space outside because they knew that they couldn't eat, that they had to be serving outside. Did Virginia Beach do it? No, because our city council wasn't proactive. We need a mayor and a city council that is going to worry about these small businesses and is going to give them the support and is going to put them in a position where they are so valued that we take care of them. And that's my view. I'm a small business owner. In fact, I have a gourmet popcorn company and we manufacture popcorn. And when COVID hit, we got stuck with 72 pallets of popcorn that didn't get picked up. And you know what? In contrast with Virginia Beach, where these small businesses never heard from the city of Norfolk's Economic Development Authority actually called me and asked me, what can we do to help? So when I'm mayor, I'll be helping those businesses and I'll be working very hard so that we can make sure that our restaurants don't go out of business and our small businesses succeed. So thank you very much for that question.
Mayor Dyer?
Yeah, once again, to correct some misperceptions, when we found out that we were going to be allowed to open patios even before we opened the beaches, I called for a special meeting. I found out about that on a Tuesday. Staff worked it on Wednesday, special meeting on Thursday. The patios were open. And let me just say, I was the one that worked in concert with the governor, who was in another party, to get the beaches open. We were the first ones open. We came up with a plan that got things going at the oceanfront and the beach. And let me also say that 8 years ago, I formed a process improvement steering committee that has some of the greatest minds and builders and people that just know how to do things. And we actually did an in-depth study on the barriers to small business startup and expansion, which was adopted by not only our planning department, but our economic development. And our economic development has set up programs that have helped people get through this. This COVID is not unique to Virginia Beach. It is unique to this great nation. And I beg to differ, and I will state that Virginia Beach is in a far better financial condition than many other cities in this great nation of ours. And we are rebounding and we are resilient. And that's because not only of me, we have a great staff, we have great people. Some businesses are hurting. I have done a number of PSAs, bolstering the restaurant industry. I have been on the news asking people to come to the restaurants and feel safe. I have been proactive, pro-business, and pro-citizen.
RK?
Dee, can you read that question back for me again? I'm a little, make sure I'm getting this right.
Small businesses are under attack due to restrictions from COVID-19. Some businesses have gone bankrupt. People have lost their livelihoods, their jobs, their businesses. What would you do to ensure government does not burden residents anymore so that we can recover?
Well, let me correct a couple things. Guys, I've been at the oceanfront for almost 40 years. I know so many business people. I was getting phone calls at my house. And here's one of the questions I got from somebody who's been in business for 35 years. Says, RK, I hate to call you so late. Where's Bobby? I said, what do you mean, where's Bobby? They go, where's the mayor? I said, I don't know. Give him a call. They said, I did. and wouldn't return my phone call. And that wasn't the first time I'd heard that. Now, it's a little concerning to me, and you guys know me a long time, a lot of you do. 40 years is a long time. I almost know every single business person at that beach. They're very hard-working people. And I'm hearing a different story here. The people are not happy with the governor of Virginia. I can tell you that right now. The people of the oceanfront are very dissatisfied. Now, I can't answer where Bobby was. He's here. Everybody can ask him where he was at. But obviously, there were a lot of concerns from a lot of business people out there. First of all, if it was me, if you're asking what I'd have done, I'd have been leading from the front. I'd have been screaming at the governor. I'd have taken control and did the right things. You know, first of all, it's not government's responsibility to put people in business or put them out of business. And when they do things to hurt people, it should make it right for everybody, just not the select few. So it's not an easy question to answer for everybody, and it's not, you know, easy for Bobby or the governor or Jody as well. It was a very complicated situation that got dumped on us in a hurry, and we needed to fix it. And it needs to be fixed now. But the problem is it ran too long. Seasonal businesses don't have the opportunity to generate cash flows like a normal business does. They have a 100-day window to make a living. And when you already get through a wintertime that was already bad, it's tough. And now they're getting into a season which 2 of their months were gone. The city should have been extremely more proactive. An example being, in May, they approved a loan for $240 million, and it wasn't for helping the businesses, it was for helping special interests.
Okay, Bobby gets 30 seconds to rebut. Where's Bobby?
Okay, thank you very much. Where was I the day right after that we had the riot and the damage? I was on Atlantic Avenue. I was taken when the city manager came on board. I was walking this, the Atlantic Avenue with the new city manager, with members of the thing, and I'm proud to say that a number of the members of the Atlantic Avenue Association are supporting Bobby D.
Okay, Mayor, you get the first question this time. Okay, so since we do have a budget shortfall, thanks to COVID-19 and the shutdown of all these businesses, okay, what specific spending are you proposing to reduce or defer? What taxes and fees will you cut to leave money in the pockets of citizens to affect this shortfall?
We are constantly reevaluating, and fortunately we had a fiscal review recently where we're in a lot better fiscal shape than we thought we were going to be. And the other thing is we just got to get business open as quickly as we possibly can. That's going to be the secret, and hopefully if we the governor will allow us to get at least phase 3, he said, right after Labor Day. I did request that we try to get open. We just got to get things going in terms of what we're doing. But the thing is, as we look forward, it's going to be getting those new businesses, those new opportunities, building the type of businesses that where kids graduate from college and they have jobs here, to get affordable, situations and a lifestyle. You know, we are a great city, but most of all, to get our city going again, we have to make sure that we have good police. We could never stand down during any type of situation. We got to keep our good schools going. But also we are looking at, John Moss brought up some things that some of the CARE Act money might be able to get to the people that need be, and our economic development are trying to help as many people as humanly possible. You know, this is a challenge for everybody. It's a challenge to every city in this great country. But we got a good staff, we're working on it, and we have a very eclectic council that really cares not only about the businesses, but about the people. And, you know, once again, we're going to face these challenges together. And, you know, we've got good fiscal policies. You know, we're triple bond rated. We're doing a lot better than a lot of cities in this great nation right now. And a lot of it is due to fiscal management. But once again, you know, like I said, I'm a home care physical therapist. I am in the homes. I understand what people are going through, and we are doing our best.
Okay.
So we have a couple funds that, because obviously it was concerning to me in May when the city just agreed to increase our debt $240 million. We're already paying $177 million a year to service the current debt. I thought it was a huge mistake. We have a TAP fund, a TIP fund, we have an open space fund that we need to be critical right now of what's going on, because we all don't know how COVID's going to affect the business industry. There's nobody that has that answer right now. But to go on a reckless spending spree on public-private partnerships that don't even have pro formas is not the answer.
Phone. Yeah, I mean, sorry.
Hit the
Your
top.
mic.
Hit the top.
There you go.
Can you all hear me now?
Again.
Hello?
Just,
Is it working now?
Yes.
I don't know how far you heard where we go, but anyway, there's monies available, guys. We're in a unique situation. We don't need to raise our taxes to fix it. Let me give you a perfect example. Stormwater. We collect $42 million a year, and we only spend 15 of that on stormwater management. Well, where's that other 27 million going? Maybe we need to start tapping into those funds and stop worrying about the special interest groups building these big projects that don't bring anything into the city right now. That's what we should be doing. We should focus on cutting down back. We use the 13 department heads, demand them to cut 5% back to see where we're going. That's how you get it back. We work together as a team. That's what we have to do. We need to fully fund our police department, and then more so than that, we need to fully staff it, because we got a recipe for disaster at that oceanfront. Thank God for our current chief. He's done miracles right now, and I can tell you that. And it needs to be taken care of first and foremost. So we have some serious problems that need to be addressed. And it ain't economic development right now. It's making sure we survive, the businesses survive, and we take care of them the best we can. And you do that by leading from the front, not from the rear, not a disappearing act.
Jody?
Thank you. Well, first of all, my approach would be to go into city government and do a thorough financial review and ask each department to do a plan, which would give us their budget, what they would have to do with a 3%, 7%, and 12% budget cut, so that we could see where we can cut. And I don't think you cut all agencies equally. You know, there are some agencies, there are some departments that are working on a very thin line, and there isn't room to cut. I would argue that the police department is one of those. If anything, we need to be adding money to their budget so that they can fill those empty police officer seats. And they can do it in a way that attracts minority community police so that they can reflect the community. But I think we need to do it in a very structured way. I'm not just going to shoot from the hip and tell you what I would cut. I'm going to tell you how I would do it. We have to be very methodical, and we need to really get the information from the different departments so that we understand where the room is. But I do disagree with the concept that we don't need to do economic development, because if we don't, we're going to be in this hole for a very long time. The reality is we have to work on building jobs for the future. We need to go after knowledge-based jobs and jobs of advanced manufacturing, so that we have jobs for our college students when they come home, so that they can come back here rather than going to Washington, D.C., New York City, and San Francisco. And we need to make sure that we have jobs for our students that are trained here, right here in Virginia Beach, so that they can do advanced manufacturing, so that they can have a career that's meaningful, and they can be here and raise their families. Virginia Beach is a fabulous place to live. I love this city. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love this city. In fact, we have 247 parks in this city. It is a great place to raise a family. So we need to make sure that people can afford to stay here and can afford to come back. So my goal is to do economic development and bring those jobs back here.
Okay. You got to answer that question, right? You started, so we're on RK, right? Okay. Just want to make sure.
Is it working?
Okay. How does the B-poll tax help any business, new or established, survive in these trying times?
I'm not going to answer that question right now, because I really don't know how that tax affects where the money goes. I'm not in government right now. I'm not elected. That's a fact. But I can guarantee you this. I can read a financial statement. I know I can tell you where it's going, or where it should be going, or shouldn't be going. And I can't answer where it's going. I don't even know the gross revenues of that tax. But let me correct something. First of all, Jody said that's absolutely wrong. The police officers that are missing are already funded. They're in the budget. The money's already there for those officers. It has been there for 20 years, been totally funded the whole time. So the money doesn't have to be found. It's already there. Jody, you also said something that's totally incorrect. it's contradictory to what you're saying. You can't spend your way out of this. You can't tax the citizens of Virginia Beach anymore. They're already paying 96% of it. The oceanfront only generates 3.4% of total revenues. It's not making money for us right now. That's not the option. You've got to cut back. You've got to do it the right way. You've got to go in and trim the fat and then see what's left over and start reducing the debt. $180 million a year, $180 million a year. That's a lot of wasted revenues on projects that are not producing. That's how you fix it. You got to go in there and tighten the belt and get away from the special interests and get the good old boy network out of our government.
Okay, Jody, you get 2 minutes and 30 seconds for your rebuttal. Because he mentioned you. So.
Okay, well, first of all, let me just say that the vehicle tax this year was a real problem for businesses, because at the very time when they were hurting, in June, they had to pay their business license tax. And what did it apply to? It applied to their revenues from last year. So when they had no revenues coming in, if they were restaurants, because they were virtually closed, they still had to come up with the money to pay their business license tax. Now, when are they going to get some relief? Next year, because their business license tax is based on what they make this year. So next year, the city's going to have a bigger problem and a budget hole, because those business license taxes are going to be less because the businesses make less money this year. Same issue happened with personal property taxes. The poor businesses that were struggling, they got a little bit of relief for a little bit of time, but they're still being asked to pay those personal property taxes. Property taxes on property that's dormant, that they can't use because their businesses are shut down or drastically reduced. So that is a huge problem. With regard to the question of police officers and funding, yes, those positions are funded, but they may not be funded at the right level. If we can't attract police officers to fill those positions, then maybe our salaries aren't right. Maybe we're not doing the right thing to attract those officers. In addition, we need to make sure that we provide full payment so that they can have their steps in their business, their police officers' plan for advancements based on longevity and experience. From what I understand, City Council did the first 4 steps of the 6-step plan, so they didn't fully fund it. That needs to be done so we can retain those officers. And then for first-line managers, their plan for paying for longevity was never funded. So there's a lot that the police department needs, and I think that we need to make sure that we fully fund it so that we can retain the officers and we can attract new officers, and so that we can obtain a diverse community of police that reflect the community in which they're serving. And if you elect me mayor, that's what I will work on doing. Thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you, Rick. Let me just say this, that, beat poll tax, we have a new city manager, we have new challenges ahead. I think it's, once again, time to take a look at, our entire tax structure. We're going to go into a new normal now. There's going to be a lot of changes forthcoming that we're going to have to take a look at. But once again, I think one of the critical areas that we're talking about, be assured that this city, along with many other cities, have been trying to recruit police. We have strived, to get minorities to come on our police department. I wish we could wave a wand and say, okay, but people come to we have very high standards. We have twice the required amount of, in the academy that is required. They are taught in public relations, community relations, and conflict resolution. We have a gold standard.
Hit it.
Rick, Here we go.
No.
Sorry. There we go. Okay, I'll just be loud. I'll be Jersey. But once again, I was responsible in a large way for getting the police salary compression done, and I'm proud to say that the police and the fire and the sheriff unions have always endorsed me and supported me in the same way that I support them.
Hold on for a second, we're going to
Okay,
switch them out.
I'm going to switch them out.
The mic is too low. It's too low? All right,
Yeah,
then,
I don't mind.
tried it.
You take my mic?
yeah, use Diana's
Let her
mic.
take my mic.
No, yours is too low, Michelle. Yours is too low in volume. Give yours to Mike. We tried it. Yeah.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Jody has to
Yes.
hear you.
Yes. Okay.
Jody has to hear you. You got to have a mic.
I gotta have a mic.
You get one.
Yeah, why don't you ask the question, then pass it over?
No, that's. Where's the other?
Ask the question, then pass it over.
Your mic would have been fine for
While
her.
they get me another mic.
We tried your mic.
Okay,
But it would be for.
how would you vote on a referendum on district voting? And Jody is first. And so, Mayor, that when you get to answer, you already had that vote, you can explain why you voted the way you voted.
Okay.
Okay, so
So first of all, I think that this is more to
I can't hear Jody.
understand what the effects are. There are localities all over the nation that have different formats.
Jody, can't hear Jody.
why can't we hear Jody?
Tell her to stop.
She did.
No, stop.
Stop. Tell her to stop.
Nothing's changed.
She is stopped.
Nothing.
She can't hear you.
We hit something here. Ron? No. I think when Michelle got up, she hit it. No, she hit it. We'll push it in. I did. Okay. Okay.
She say something?
Jody.
Then we can hear
No.
her.
It's,
We can hear
no,
her.
she's not coming through there. She's coming through here. It has nothing to do with that one. Ron? It's
Nothing's changed there. It's still up. It's still plugged in.
Just a moment.
We can hear her when she speaks.
You want me to do a test?
There you go. See? There. Yeah.
Okay, do you want me to start over, or could you hear the beginning?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, with regard to the way we vote, there are localities all over the country that have different formats and how they handle representation. You can have the city divided into many divisions. You can have the hybrid system that we have. You can have a system where you have all at large and there is no division. I think we really need to study the effects of those different programs, and we need to really understand, because we don't want to have any unintended consequences. You know, the concept of that we would suddenly have minority seats if we had district voting, not sure, because right now we have 2 African American city council people. So will it really get better, or would it make it worse? So before I would ever consider a referendum, I would want to have a study done so that we understand what the options are and what the likely effects are if we change the method. That's my view.
Mayor?
Okay, thank you. You know, once again, very complicated process. Voting, if you look at Virginia Beach, Norfolk, and Chesapeake, we all got different voting systems. And yes, it would be a good idea to take a serious look at this. And one of the problems we had with the current vote that came up was due to the COVID and the unsure voting that was going to be on, and the public education that was going to be needed to, figure out, is this the right way? And I do agree with Jody. One of the things I'm recommending is that we go to Dr. Quentin Kidd, maybe over at CNU, and look at what would be the optimal voting system. Now, the other thing that is a complicating factor is that right now, as you all know, the city is in the middle of a lawsuit, and then we're going to be going to trial in October. Because our voting system has been challenged, and the other thing is we have a they're doing the census now, and that after the census, they're going to be doing a significant amount of redistricting. So the point is, once again, the education to figure out which best meets our city. If you take a look at Virginia Beach, we are 7 distinct districts that are very unique. You got a beach, you got agriculture, you got epicenters of business, you got folks like Kempsville, Centerville, everybody is unique in a lot of ways. Some people love it, some people don't, but it requires education and people understanding what's going on. But once again, right now, the timing of it is, it lends itself. But once again, there's many ways to do it that are done nationally. What's the best way for Virginia Beach? And but once again, I wouldn't be adverse to have a referendum on it during the next election.
RK?
So the National League of Cities say there's 3 ways to vote: at large, district, or a hybrid system, which is district and a combination at large. The city of Virginia Beach has the only voting system like it in the National League of Cities. We have a hybrid district system, which is why we're being sued, because I agree with the people suing them. I believe it's unconstitutional. And what's concerning to me, I've known Bobby a long time. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy. We've talked about this for 18 years. This is no new news. You have 3 ways to vote. That's it. It doesn't need to be studied. Put it on the referendum. Let the citizens of Virginia Beach decide which way you want to vote. We don't need a daddy or a granddaddy to tell us how to vote. I'm very mature. I can handle it. And anybody can handle 3 different ways to vote. I find it bizarre that that didn't happen, that every council member wanted to stop the right way to do things. Because you know why they wanted it, everybody? Because the good old boys would rather have this system because the money controls. We're 497 square miles. Do you know how hard it is to run a campaign? Norfolk is 95 square miles. You know how easy it would be just to have an at-large system? It's nice. Let the people make the decision. I don't understand what Bobby's missing here. Maybe he knows something that I don't know. 30,000 cities and counties in this country. None of them has the voting system that we do. None of them. I find it a little bizarre. And maybe I'm just a little weird and it needs to be fixed. Let me correct something else. The compression was only fixed in 2019. This was a problem for 17 years prior to that. The police officers themselves, we've been short since 2002. How come we haven't spent more time fixing that problem? We may not have that problem if we would have done it earlier and spent less time working on public-private partnerships.
Okay, you get 30 seconds to rebut.
Once again, Rick, with due respect, if we could have recruited, we would have. And it's a national thing, but once again, even with our standards, we have some applicants, but once again, they just keep the high standards. If it was a problem, it was fixable, we're going to do it. We're going to be looking at the salaries of all the public safety. But in spite of everything, let's not lose sight of the fact that in spite of everything, we are still the safest city of a city our size in this great nation, and we got to keep it going.
Okay, so Mayor, you get to start this time. Okay, so it's on flooding. Okay, flooding is the next topic. How do we accelerate flood mitigation? Water is the greatest concern for the city over the next 50 years. Population density rapidly descends as you travel south in our city. Thus, the rising costs of protecting these homes from sea level rise, hurricane, flooding, wind tides exponentially. As mayor, are you prepared to help the city accept continued from, I don't know. Anyway, so what are we going to do about flood mitigation? All of these were on flood mitigation. I was trying to combine them.
Once again, the council has established this as the #1 priority in the city, and I'll tell you why it has to be. We are putting money into it, but once again, as Hurricane Matthew, exposed what was going on, we have a massive, we're talking around $4+ billion to mitigate. We have problems now that we didn't have 5-6 years ago. A lot of areas are getting flooded. We are aware of that. We're out there, we're dedicating more and more money. John Moss is talking about the bond referendum, that I think would be helpful. But once again, a lot of it is wind surge that comes in at the south end of the city. They're talking about raising the road levels out there to, to help with that. This is going to be not only a 10-year fix, a 50-year fix, this is going to be a lifetime fix going forward. And once again, I hate to keep deflecting back. We're going to have to create the money to do that. If we want people to come here and open their businesses, and if we want to make sure that we don't get bracked with the military, we have to make sure that our roads are patent and transportation is a possible thing. And as a council, we have dedicated this. We've had some good, Rick, but I'm just saying, it is a priority. It's something we got to work on. It's going to cost a lot of money, and unfortunately, it's going to come from some other areas. But once again, it's going to be a matter of setting priorities, and I think we're going to look forward to that. Here you go, Rick.
Thanks, Bobby. So they were telling me, Rick, change your topics. Don't talk about stormwater. It's not important. Don't worry about it. Oh, really? How about in the year 2000 when we're only collecting $10 million a year for stormwater? Oh, really? And then 4 years later, we're collecting $35 million a year. Now we're collecting $42 million a year. And only like 14 million of that's going to stormwater. You want to do the math? I did the math. It was several $100 million that wasn't going to stormwater maintenance. Hear me out clearly. I am not a genius. I am not a rocket scientist, but I can do this much. I am a builder. I've been around construction all my life. Number one issue right now, fix the maintenance issue and all the creeks, the pipes, and everything else. Get that done first. And by the way, we have $400 million sitting on the sidelines right now. If we need to take $100 million of it to fix it, it needs to be done now because it's getting serious. We're one storm away from a disaster, guys. We're one storm away from a disaster. We have the money. So I don't want to hear, oh, gee, this just became a priority last year. Oh, there's an election coming on. Are you serious? We've had stormwater problems for a long time now, and all of a sudden now it's a priority? Just because we had a storm that called it out for us? What's the next time? Oh, we don't have enough police officers? Oh, let's wait until we need them. That's leading from the rear, guys. You need to lead from the front. It's the responsibility of government to take care of the people and the infrastructure, not their buddies. Virginia Beach rather take care of their buddies, and it's a problem. And it's been a problem, and I've been talking about it for a long time. If you want it fixed, there's one guy that can get it fixed. That's for sure. I'm not going to sit on the sidelines and wait to do it because it's serious, and somebody could get killed over it. And we need to fix it. It needs to be fixed now.
Jody?
Thank you. First, let me clarify something. I met with some police, and I've learned compression has not been fixed. It's been fixed at the beginning levels for the officers. It has not been fixed at the upper levels, and it has not been fixed for the first line managers. So let's not fool ourselves. We're not done with that problem. But let's talk about flooding. You know, my heart goes out to the families that have experienced flooding. In fact, every September, I hold my breath. I hate the months from September 1 through mid-October because that's hurricane season, and it is extremely dangerous for Virginia Beach. And we need to make sure that we're ready. And, you know, Mr. Mayor, we have not mitigated the flooding crisis. It's been a problem since 2016 with Matthew. It's been a problem way before. It just became very obvious in 2016. And I've got to give the mayor credit. He recognized it. And when he did his contract with Virginia Beach, his major point was accelerate flood mitigation, shorten the implementation of flooding solutions from 15 years to 6 years. We have not done that. Encourage the development that improves, not worsens, storm impacts. I don't know if we've done that. But then immediately appoint a blue ribbon commission focused on flooding. I don't think a commission was ever appointed. We created a task force to study flooding and study solutions, and we're working on it. But I don't think the mayor did that blue ribbon task force. So we've got a problem in the city, and we do need to accelerate the response to flooding. I wouldn't want my house flooded, and I understand why people don't want their houses flooded. And we need to deal with it, and we need to deal with it now. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, you get 30 seconds rebuttal.
Oh, thank you. And Jody, I appreciate your comments. And yes, keeping some of the my objectives was a little bit challenged, but I was in the process before COVID of putting together a kitchen cabinet that was going to include the study of this, but once again, I'm not going to make excuses. We've had some challenges, but I was convinced that our staff and our council were working on the mitigation of those problems, and they will continue to be the priority that they are. Thank you for your comments, though, Jody.
Okay, so now I get to read the next question, and we start with RK. Both of these questions are on short-term rentals. So would you protect the existing short-term rentals, especially in Sandbridge, where tax revenue has remained steady and goes directly to the general fund, versus hotels that have declined 40%? And also, Virginia Beach is a tourist destination. How would you preserve the neighborhoods while still ensuring property rights of owners to make a living using short-term rentals?
Well, I have an Airbnb, and it does extremely well at the oceanfront. I don't think Airbnb is a good in every neighborhood, and I can understand why. But when you live in a resort city, basically Virginia Beach has 3 resorts. People have to understand that we have the oceanfront, we have Sandbridge, and we have Shore Drive.
That's right.
And let me tell you something that's impressive to me. Sandbridge is up 55%, while in room rentals and nights, well, the oceanfront is down. Down consistently year after year for 20 years. I track those numbers because it's easy to do, because we have a daily tax that's $1, it's now $2, so you can see what's going on. I mean, it's a viable industry. We pay taxes just like a hotel does. We stay busy. You know, it's important. We need those revenues. Now, I don't say we need to have Airbnb everywhere, but at the resort, in the resort areas, it needs to be there. I will do what I can to protect it because it's a critical revenue stream. Look at Sandbridge's numbers. They produce money to the general fund. If you do the math on the oceanfront right now, you guys won't be real happy. I can tell you that right now. You won't be happy at all. You won't be happy with the new sportsplex they just built. You won't be happy with that either, because it was a dead loser day one they built it. But they did it anyway. And they had a performer that said it was going to be a dead loser. Nobody wanted to talk about it except me when I was waving it at them 2 years ago. How about the convention center? Do you know how much money we lose at the convention center? It will scare you to know how much money we're losing. They just hired somebody to try to fix it. They just hired somebody to try to fix it. And I'm going to speak as a citizen right now. I'm sick and tired of studies. I am over studies. Everything we do, we got to study. We elect people to do the work for us, using our best wisdom, our best common sense to make things happen. I will not lead from the rear. I will lead from the front, and I'm tired of studies. We need to fix some of these problems and stop studying them.
Jody?
No, short-term rentals is a difficult issue, because on the one hand, you have the rights of the people that own the property, right? They want to make a living they want to make money with their rental property. On the other hand, you have the rights of their neighbors not to be disturbed. So we have to find a balance, and I think City Council has tried to do that, but the way that they've done it is incredibly time-consuming to the City Council members. Most of the City Council meetings are spent considering short-term rentals. So I think the first thing that we have to do is figure out a way to reduce the level of involvement that the City Council has on every single housing short-term rental decision. It needs to be very clear what the rules are, and they need to be so that it's automatic and people know what the rules are and how they deal with it. And then we need to make sure that if the tenants that are there violate the privacy and the right to quiet and everything of their neighbors, that we enforce it, because we need to make sure that we aren't affecting the neighborhood. So I think it's a tough thing, but I know that we can find a very good solution.
Mayor?
All right. Now, call me Bobby D, will you? Look, I'm only mayor on Tuesdays, D. What can I tell you? Bobby D the rest of the week. Let me put it this way. Short-term rentals has just been an ongoing dilemma and saga that just doesn't go away. In terms of Sandbridge, they are an economic engine. I have met with them, I believe, 3 times over the last couple months with the Business Association, giving them assurances that, you know, they are on our map, on our radar, and we have to do whatever we can with the overlay to make sure that their industry is protected. The dilemma comes when people want to open up. Okay, there were some folks in, you know, outside of in the resort area. when they proliferate into neighborhoods. My personal thing, I think where Virginia Beach is a property right state, you should be able to do what you want with your property. And there are so many people that are living on COLA. Once again, I'm a home care physical therapist. I'm in people's homes. And a lot of people I've met over the years are people that would rent out, during the summer so that, they can make, help make a living and everything. But once again, we're going to be coming up with a plan. One of the things I would like to see is the empowerment of this city director of planning, to approve a ongoing CUP without having to come to council. I think that is more efficient. One of the things that we have to look about with our constrained budget right now is code enforcement, that a lot of the rules and conditions we're putting on these folks, how do you enforce them? So it's a very complicated process. We're working on it. But, like was said, we're a resort city. People want to come here. People enjoy Airbnbs. This is really not only an economic engine, it helps others.
Okay, Jody, you get the next question. Okay, here are the numbers for Black Lives Matter rally march on June 6th from Mount Trashmore to Independence Boulevard to Town Center. And it totaled $149,997.71. Black Lives Matter is going to be down at the oceanfront again Saturday. This is tourist season. We need every tourist to feel safe to come down there. What would you do to protect our visitors and the tax dollars to not become another Portland, Seattle? Would a curfew be something you would do?
So first of all, let me be clear. We can't confuse the Black Lives Matter movement and those that have caused trouble. Black Lives Matter movement are citizens just like you, stating their concerns for the way that George Floyd and others throughout the country have been treated. Now, they're not necessarily even talking about our police, but I will tell you this. I am very disappointed in the city of Virginia Beach because when the Black Lives Matter marches happened back in late May, early June, I kept waiting to hear Bobby Dyer, our mayor on Tuesdays, step up and say, we hear you, we're going to work with you, but let me tell you how great our city's police force is. Let me give you some facts. They are extremely well trained. They do not do chokeholds. They are nothing like the police in Minnesota, and now we should say, and they are not like the police in Wisconsin. We need to stand up for our police. And you know what? Unfortunately, our mayor didn't do that. And not only did he not do that, but then he signed a letter that accused the police of being hitting a racial bias and systemically having racism in police departments. That hurt me because I know that our police force is trying to do the right thing. So I think that we cannot ignore the social justice demands of citizens. They're making a point. Do you think it was right to kill a man by standing on his neck with his knee for 8 minutes? That's appalling, and I don't blame the citizens of Virginia Beach and Norfolk and the rest of the country for being appalled. So I would have, if I were mayor, I would have been talking to those protesters, and I would have been calming them down. Instead, I heard dead silence coming out of the mayor's mouth.
Mayor, you died from that.
Thank you. Let me correct some factual impairment here, okay? The day after, the violence, when the damage was there, I was on Atlantic Avenue at 7 o'clock in the morning. And, I was not there as a publicity stunt, but I did a number of TV interviews where, I did address many things. And let me say this also, that, with the police, I did, we were trying to avert some things, but I have been out there proactive, saying on the news and everything. And no, I did, let me just say that I did have private meetings with myself and the leaders of Black Lives Matter. And we went over every police policy. which included that we never, ever instructed a police officer in a chokehold. And we never have a policy about shooting moving vehicles. And the 8 recommendations were out there. Our police are gold standard certified officers who acted with respect and dignity in a very volatile situation. We as a city, as a country, and as a nation respect respectful protest. But once it goes violence, and on July 4th, I was sitting in the 2nd Police Command area, and I told the police, do whatever you have to do to protect lives, property, and your own officers. And in Virginia Beach, we have one motto: we do not stand down.
Black lives matter. White lives matter. Brown lives matter. All citizens' lives matter. That's the truth. But lawlessness cannot be tolerated. Cannot be tolerated. People need to know the facts of what's going on. And let me tell you something. I was out there July, right after 4th of July, with another Black Lives Matter. I was in the middle of it. I got plenty of videos for everybody. I was standing there minding my own business with my phone on, recording everything that was going on. Had 3 individuals surround me with cameras about 2 inches from my face, which I remember. In your neighborhood, your kid, your police officer, your grandmother, your mother, your father. Are you serious? This is getting old. Let me tell you something, people. I don't mean to be upset here, but I'm going to get upset. I live at the ocean front. There's not a night that doesn't go by you don't hear gunshots going off. How would you like that in your neighborhood? Oh, and by the way, this just didn't happen yesterday. I've called 911 so many times since December. It's been going on for a decade and a half. Really? I'm getting sick and tired of hearing that. And by the way, we have some great police officers. I've talked to many of them. I stood with my bicycle with them, riding down the street with them when they were tormented for an hour and a half, and they maintained their composure. You cannot judge one person, one color, for a bad incident from one person. That is ridiculous. Nobody wants to see nobody choked out or hurt. I don't care what color you are. But we cannot and we will not tolerate lawlessness. And I will lead from the front, not the rear. I didn't see Bobby out there the day I was out there. That is for sure. I'm not saying he wasn't someplace else, but he wasn't there.
Bobby, you got 30 seconds to reply.
Well, I didn't see it because I didn't see it, but I was there, and I have been there. I was at the police rally that we had in front of building, just a couple weeks ago. I actually gave a speech. I was supposed to give one last Saturday, but it got rained out. The police know I am with them. They are with me. Fire knows I am with them. They are with me. The sheriffs know that they are with me, and I have always been with them. Thank you.
Okay. You get to start now, so give me that.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to put some questions together so we can get them all done. Okay. So, thank you. Okay. Would you support the creation of a program where city employees would be permitted to carry concealed firearms at work? Will you support the VCDL resolution to not make public buildings, property, events gun-free zones?
I would. Right after our tragedy, I flew out to Dayton. They had a tragedy there, and I met with the mayor of Dayton and the mayor of Parkland. And I, on TV, said they were asking me, and I was on national news, and I said I'm a Second Amendment guy. And, once again, with the background checks, I think maybe, some disagreement, but, that's helpful. But when it comes to the other thing, I was asked about banning weapons, and I said, basically not. When the resolution was brought forward to us about, banning in the buildings, the most dangerous places in this country are gun-free zones.
Amen.
And the point is, I've been working with Vinnie Smith and a number of other people, And we're going to do what we have to do to keep us safe. We just got to find ways to make sure that if there is an incident, that police know how to identify people if they're in the business. But these are things that we can work out. But once again, you know, what makes this country great, and what we see coming out of Richmond right now is what I consider bureaucratic malpractice of the highest order. It's not only with the guns, it's what they want to do to the police. Do you know now you can assault a police officer and it's considered a misdemeanor? Okay? Do you realize that they want to have certain types of boards and commissions that, to discipline police? We have to have the conversation, but what's coming out of Richmond right now, I think, is really injurious to what we're trying to do, right here. We are Virginia Beach. We are different.
Okay?
Yeah, I just bought an AR-15. It was $1,829. I'll tell you how I feel. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Just for the record, being that we're short the police officer we are right now, absolutely people should be able to carry their guns to work so they can protect themselves. Because somebody was in that building with a gun that day. There might not have been everybody that was saved, but there would have been somebody that was saved, and that's the daggone truth. We don't need no gun-free zones. I agree with Bobby. Go to Chicago. How's all that working out for everybody? How many people would get shot this weekend? 50, 60, 80, 14? How about those black lives? How do they matter? I don't see nobody running there to protest there, that's for sure. How about New York? They're off the charts. I mean, you got to be kidding me here. We got to have a way to protect ourselves. It's Second Amendment all the way. And qualified immunity, seriously? Police officers need to be protected. Their job is tough enough. I watched them for an hour and a half. Bobby said he was there. I was there. Rosemary Wilson was there. Mike Kowalewitch was there. I didn't see Bobby. I went for 1 hour and a half and watched that whole show. It was a show. And I'll tell you one thing, all that I could do, I guarantee I had a bite on the side of my lip because I bit it so hard. I was so angry what was going on and what they were doing. Our police officers in Virginia Beach, every one of you people would have been proud of them. They held back with restraint. They were cussed at, fussed at, threatened all the way. And I got plenty of video on that. You know what? We got to do the right things. This is about us. This is our city. We need to stick together. I don't care what color you are. Everybody wants law and order. Nobody should be treated any different. I'm getting sick and tired of people. Level playing field. Oh, that's right. It's election time again, a level playing field. A level playing field should have been there every single day. That's what we need, is a level playing field, and it needs to maintain that. Lead from the front, not from the rear, and we don't need to study it either.
Jody? Can't hear you.
We can't hear her.
Wave her off.
Hold on.
Wait.
It was fine, though.
I didn't touch her.
Testing.
Can you say something, Jody?
Test, test, test.
No.
Still not loud enough. Hang on a sec.
Okay.
Unplug it, plug it back in.
That won't matter.
Okay, well, sometimes it works.
Can you speak again?
So the default speaker changed.
No.
It's still
can't
coming
hear
through.
you.
It's coming from here. No, it's Ron. It's over here.
Just a sec.
Just a second. Ron, it's in the speaker.
It's the speaker.
You can hear it. Let me hear a test again, Jody. Check the. There you go.
I heard something.
No.
You can't swap the wires. This one's okay. It hasn't moved.
When he did,
Yeah, but
made
he-
something happen.
That was on that side.
Try it now.
Jody?
Jody?
No. Is your volume down on your computer? Okay. I can't hear you at all now. I haven't either.
Oh, all of this virtual mess is so rough.
Nothing changed over there. We need to fund a study to figure out.
$1 million.
That's right, $1 million.
Try it again.
Oh, something's happening. Stick it in a different thingy. Blow on it. Stick it in it. I mean, don't ask me. Do you want my speaker?
Is it coming?
No,
You want to try mine?
I don't think you have the input for that.
I've got an input for, I've got, you want to look
We have a pause in the action.
Ask her to keep giving you a sense of peace. Okay.
Now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yay! Okay.
Keep talking.
Can we have another test?
Keep talking, please.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Keep talking.
Keep going. One more time, please.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate all your work to make this, to be able to facilitate this. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you remember the question?
Time's up.
Do you remember the question?
Yes.
Do you remember the question?
Yeah, she's good.
Diana, you want to read it again?
Do you remember the question?
Ma'am, I do remember the question.
Okay.
I'm fine.
So you can now answer it then.
Okay, are you ready to start the timer?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, let's talk about July 4th. On July 4th, while the mayor was sitting in the precinct watching things on some sort of monitor, I was on the street between 15th and 25th Street with the Human Rights Commission and the members of the RAF. And it was appalling, some of the things that I saw, because the police were being really given a hard time. And it was, in fact, there was one point, were 2 white men and 1 Asian man, so it wasn't black lives that were doing it. And they were giving a very, very hard time to the police, and they were baiting them, and they were baiting them. And I was so proud of these police officers because they didn't take the bait, they were very firm, they were very polite, and they handled it in an amazing way. I don't think I would have had the patience that they had. So we've got a great police force that really needs to be, we need to be proud of them and we need to support them. Second, in regard to the question that was asked, I'm confused because if the mayor is a Second Amendment guy and the shooting happened May 31st a year ago, employees still haven't been allowed to bring guns to work. So we can't have it both ways. Either employees bring guns to work and then other people can bring guns in, or employees can't bring guns to work, and then I really don't think that other people should bring guns in. The last thing I want is for our employees to be defenseless and have strangers bringing guns in. So, that's my view of it. Thank you.
30 seconds.
Bobby, all about Bobby.
Oh, yeah, I'm just a pinata up here. That's okay. That's why they pay me the big bucks. Just a point of clarification. The reason I was not out in the streets was at the request of the chief of police. Because of security, I would have to have police officers assigned to me. So he asked me not to participate in certain things. And real quick, Reed Greenbaum, when the vice president came, the reason I wasn't there was because we didn't have an opportunity to get with the Secret Service and organize protective stuff, okay? Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start with okay. We're going to do these because we're almost out of time. So we're going to do these yes/no questions. Okay. They have signs to hold up. I don't know if you want to write it on a piece of paper or just say it.
Mess up my
Okay. So
Can you read it?
yes, I can. Very good. Okay.
No timing.
So, are you in favor of term limits for city council?
Yes, Mayor Dyer, yes. Everybody's yes.
Everybody's yes. Do you support painting Black Lives Matter on the boardwalk?
Hell no. Where's your sign?
What's your sign? No. Okay. Do you support defunding the police?
No.
Good.
Do you support extending light rail into Virginia Beach?
You know how I feel
I
about
know.
that?
Oh, she does.
Do you support giving the city manager direction to submit an annual budget without tax increases?
Yes.
That isn't a yes/no question. It really depends on the facts.
Well, we don't have time for anything else. Okay? All right. During protest riots, would you ever order the police to stand down?
Absolutely not.
Do you support the ARP?
Agricultural reserve.
The Agricultural Reserve
With
Program.
modifications.
Okay, right. Will you sign the police pledge? Okay? A lawful society free from mob rule and violent insurrection is not possible without law enforcement. Police officers have chosen a noble profession. They dedicate their lives to upholding the law and protecting the sacred rights of their fellow citizens. As a profession, they deserve support and respect. I stand with America's police and pledge to oppose any bill, resolution, or movement to defund them. And I have one for each of them here, and I'd be glad to send it to you if you would sign the pledge that I just read.
I think I need to understand that pledge better.
Okay, well, I will email it to you because you're not here. That's why I read it.
Just
Okay.
sign it, Jody.
Don't do
You
that.
said you would.
All right, and let me see. All right, we got that question. I got those questions.
Diana, look, there's one on the floor down there.
That was term limits on city council. That's the same one. Okay. Will you push for the right to assemble? Since we've been denied that, will you push for the right to assemble and protect our First Amendment rights?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Can you not hear?
Jody didn't answer.
She wants clarification on that.
Clarification, the First Amendment, we have the right to assemble.
Peaceably.
Peaceably. And we're not being given that. I mean, unless we protest.
Why is she having a hard time with that?
I support the right to First Amendment.
All right, thanks.
To assemble.
All right, so, the rest of these are not yes and no questions.
She only said half
So,
of it.
we're gonna go to closing comments, and Jody, you get first.
Okay?
1 minute.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having me tonight. I really appreciate your time and I appreciate your patience as I tried to participate remotely. I think one thing's been pretty clear. We need a mayor in the city who's going to lead from the front, as RK has said, and a mayor who's going to work hard for the people and is going to keep her promises to the people. And I intend to be that kind of mayor, and I look forward to working with all of you. When I'm elected mayor, I'm going to be mayor for all the citizens of Virginia Beach, not just citizens of one group or another group, but all the citizens of Virginia Beach. And my phone will be available to you, and my door will be open, and I look forward to working with you because this is a great city, and we can make it even greater. We can deal with the problems that we're facing, and eventually, after we're done, Virginia Beach will be a can-do city, the best city to live in, the best managed city, the best city to do business in, and most of all, the best city in which to raise a child. Thank you.
People have asked me why I continue to run for office. My answer is simple. I live here too. I don't like my government picking winners and losers. That is socialism. Socialism has never worked anywhere, and I refuse to sit on the sidelines and watch it happen. Law and order is the backbone of a free society. Defunding the police department is insanity. Bobby Dyer, Jody Wagner, Bobby Wagner, Jody Dyer. It's all the same result in the end. Nothing will change or potentially get worse, and that's why I'm running. I've done the hard part. My name is on the ballot. My hands are clean. It's your turn to make the change that's needed. This election is on you now. My promise to you is I'll work for you, not special interests. I'll lead from the front, not the rear. God bless this great country, the city, and God bless you and yours. Please vote RK.
Jody, do you want 30 seconds to rebut it? He called you out.
No, I think we're fine, thank you.
Okay, Bobby, closing comments.
Thank you, and I really appreciate everybody being here. Jody, Rick, getting together. Let me just say this. Anybody can lead when times are good. It's when times are challenging that the true leaders step forward. And yes, I got a leadership style. I'm collaborative. You know, I'm one of 11, but you know something? Marines lead from the front, and if you don't believe me, go to YouTube and see all I have done in terms of leading and trying to build consensus among the council, to get the city staff working, to get people through those tough times, whether they be tragedies, whether they be emergencies, whether they be COVID. You need a Marine to work with the military, but once again, I am the one with the experience. Right now, we can't afford people to come in. We can't put training wheels on the doors of the city mayor's office right now. We need people with time, tested, and valued and understood leadership. Thank you, and God bless you.